We welcome our family, our extended family in Facebook, and those who are joining us and will be viewing our service today, our gathering via our YouTube channel. We begin our June series, and the title for this series is In Living Color. And this is an invitation to recognize that happiness is our birthright. What better way to show our happiness and pride than with color? Imagine, if you will, that you're at a awards presentation ceremony, and they're identifying the various categories. And so the next category is unity. And the winner is Immigrant Heritage and LGBTQIA plus Pride Month. These are our winners for the month of June. We acknowledge the spiritual truth that we're all divine expressions of God. And we set the intention to intentionally cast aside a consciousness of exclusion and replace that with one of inclusion, celebrating unity, diversity, belonging, and the unique expressions of the one life that each of us represents. And let's look at a science of mind, look at living color from a science of mind perspective. I'm going to speak a lot this morning about marginalized people, and especially since we're kicking off Pride Month and focusing on the LGBTQ community as well as celebrating Immigrant Heritage Month. Marginalized people worldwide have shown us what it means to live in color, locally and internationally. Preserving despite the challenges faced by being who they are or who we are. I'm going to make this as an inclusive talk this morning because I believe that each one of us brings certain gifts to the table that identify our uniqueness as individualized expressions of spirit. Ernest Holmes wrote this in the original edition of the Science of Mind textbook, which was published in 1926. The one we most currently refer to now is the 1967 edition, which is the most recent revision. But this is the original textbook. And there's some information that was in the original textbook that was not transferred over into the reprint. And this is one of those. And he says this: there is also an intermediate sex, that is, one in which the two attributes seem to be almost equally balanced. The greatest men and women of the ages have belonged to this type, meaning the intermediate sex. For it is more complete balance between the two, which are really one. And we talk about, especially on Mother's Day and Father's Day, we tend to, on Mother's Day, emphasize the feminine aspect of God, and on Father's Day, we tend to emphasize the masculine aspect of God. God is not defined by masculine and feminine. These are human constructs. God is a spirit representing all of us, and each of us is an individualized expression of God. And each one of us is a choice to choose how we express our representation of the divine. Our immigrant siblings and our two-spirit, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer or questioning intersex and asexual siblings continue to survive as an example of the beauty of self-expression despite facing persecution, violence, and even prison simply for being who they are. And I want to expand this also beyond the immigrant community and the pride community. There are people in our own country as well as throughout the world, that are facing persecution, violence, and even imprisonment just for being who they are. And I want to remind us that no one, absolutely no one, is outside of the love of God. And we look with excitement to the contributions of our Pride and immigrant siblings by recognizing the consequences of being who they are has not stopped them from being unapologetically fabulous. A community that is associated with color, fun, dance, music, and celebration, persisting in creating spaces to meet, to form community, and to love one another openly contributes to living in color. And so as we continue to create community, as we continue to meet together, as we continue to love together and to love one another, we create these celebrations that are fabulous because we are a fabulous people. We are a fabulous community. And I think that deserves a little bit of applause this morning. We are a fabulous community. And so I know there are people who are asking, why this emphasis on Pride and Heritage Month? And I offer this response. Unless you are a direct descendant of a Native American tribe, all of us, through our ancestors, came from someplace. And so if you're other than Native American, direct descendant of a Native American tribe, we're all immigrants sharing this space together. This is our call to share the space together in unity. And so in celebrating unity and the oneness of all life, we engage in our practice of the Science of Mind principles and we follow the golden rule. And these become excellent starting points for our spiritual growth because we're all on this journey of awakening. And I remember this, I don't remember the year, but I think I still have the t-shirt at one of our Silomar conferences. The theme for that year was, it just lifted. I just said it and now it is Journey of Awakening. That's what it is. The theme for that year's conference was Journey of Awakening, and that has really resonated with me because we're all on a journey of awakening. Awakening to the brilliance and the excellence and the phenomenal expressions of spirit that we are. And I want to highlight a few aspects of living in color. Giving joy is an aspect or a quality of living in color. Living in Color was the name of a TV series that celebrated joy, diversity, laughter, music, and creative expression. And I think this was in the 90s, if I'm not mistaken. Some of the comedy sketches, for those of you who have maybe seen it or have heard the stories about In Living Color, some of the comedy sketches in there were controversial and edgy for the time, and some may even be considered problematic today. However, this show blazed the trail for better representation and diversity in the entertainment industry, and its impact is still being seen today. And some examples of this are the Wayans family, Jim Carrey, David Alan Grier, and many others who are part of that show and are still involved in notable projects, making an impact on the world today. And despite the challenges and hardships experienced from oppression, marginalized people lean into a culture of joy. In celebration of In Living Color this week, it's a grand time to celebrate the joy and the resilience that resides in each one of us. No matter what the circumstances, there will always be a reason to be joyful. And my meditation teacher reminded us in our session this morning that we are here to love. That what we may be looking for, he had us do a little exercise of what it is that we're seeking in our life that we may feel that we're missing. And then what will we do if we had that? And then he completed it by reminding us that what it is that we're seeking is what it is that we are required to give. And so if we're seeking love, we give love. Because what we give out is what we attract back to us. If we're seeking joy, we give out joy. If we're seeking happiness, we give out happiness. Whatever it is that we're seeking, giving it out as an expression of love is what comes back to us. And Amber blessed us with the vocals this morning of the lyrics to Somewhere Over the Rainbow. The Rainbow Pride flag was inspired by this song, and each color represents the qualities of sex, life, healing, sunlight, nature, magic, art, serenity, and spirit. And I'm sure there are others that we can add. In 2018, the Pride flag evolved to include more colors and to represent more people in the global majority in their contributions to the movement, including those who died of HIV/AIDS, transgender people, gender non-binary people, intersex people, and those who don't identify by any gender. And I want to insert here that many people choose to use personal pronouns as a way of identifying. And what that does, and a lot of us have asked, why the pronouns? And so this is an opportunity to do a little educating, if you will, do a little teaching this morning. The pronouns identify how it is that we connect with one another. And I'll use the example of the name, let's say I'll use Emery as an example. That's a name that comes to my mind. Emery can be used as a name for a male or also for a female. And so, give you an example of how pronouns work. If I am engaging with someone by the name of Emery that I have not met, I would, and we're not, and there isn't a visual, it's just a written communication, I would have no way of knowing what the identity of that person is. If I were introducing someone for the first time that I had not met, didn't have a picture of, I would not know how to properly introduce them if I did not know the pronouns that they were choosing. And so you will see he, him, his, or she, her, hers, they, them, their. These are the pronouns that represent how this person chooses to show up, and it establishes a place of respect, it establishes a place of love, and it establishes a boundary for each one of us to work within so that we know how the person is choosing to identify. The flag of many colors is a true representation and celebration of diversity. The vibrant symbolism of the colors and their meanings lives as a timeless connection and provides a deeper meaning for our lives. The movie The Wizard of Oz has a connection with the rainbow flag within the Pride communities. Judy Garland, at the age of 16, played the role of Dorothy in the movie and was revered in the queer community as one who embraced and accepted all of life's experiences. And so within the queer community, the phrase, "a friend of Dorothy," has been used to identify one another and ensure their safety in environments where they weren't always free to be themselves. Within all of our communities, there is something that is known as code switching. We may use different terms to identify it, but code switching is a way of identifying that you're my sibling, you're my brother, you're my sister. It's a way of knowing that you're safe with me. You can be yourself with me. As we celebrate in Living Color this week and this month, let it be the perfect opportunity to connect with the relationships of colors, pride, and immigrant heritage. Another aspect of living in color is technicolor. Marginalized people reside in cultures where pride and immigrant people's voices have been erased from history and or continue to be silenced. And I would be remiss this morning by not acknowledging the cultural silencing that is taking place right here in our own country, especially related to the achievements and the accomplishments and the contributions of African Americans and other marginalized communities. We may be a little uncomfortable in acknowledging this, but it is a silencing that is taking place very publicly and overtly rather than covertly. And so I just remind us that as people of faith, if we really are progressing unity, then we have an opportunity to stand up and say, I will not be silenced. My sibling will not be silenced. My ancestors will not be silenced. And continuing with this idea of technicolor, I have a story that I would like to share with you. Finding inspiration from people in the past can inspire and empower us to take action in the present. The original drag queen was a formerly enslaved man named William Dorsey. He became the first to call himself a queen of drag and organized gatherings where joy was an act of resistance. Joy, an act of resistance. Think about that for a moment. And thinking about situations where we may be in gatherings with family or other members or other individuals. And with all of the drama that can take place in those situations, sit back and just manifest joy. Be that place of resistance that moves beyond the drama and brings joy into the atmosphere. The term queen was inspired by the Queens of Freedom crowned on Emancipation Day celebrations, first held in 1866. And the word drag comes from grand rag. Dorsey did not allow himself or the history of enslaved people and police raids on the grand drags in Washington, D.C. to hamper the celebrations. The Evening Star, a local newspaper, reported police targeted men in feminine attire of many colors. And so in every thread of Dorsey's gown was a truth that was stitched in there, and it still echoes today, that dignity is not granted, it is claimed. Dignity is not granted, it is claimed. He and his friends continued to party, and the police kept shutting them down. I mean, it's been in situations where we're shut down, but we continue to party. We're not going to be silenced. Long before the Pride parades, William Dorsey Swan danced in defiance. And so in this Pride Month, we remember around the world the celebrations that say oppression will not be stopped. The oppression will not be stopped. We will not stop from being who we are. We will stop representing ourselves with pride, with honesty, and with sincerity. And Ernest Holmes, in the current edition of the Science of Mind textbook on page 45, writes this: "It should be considered right to live and to enjoy living. To be well, to be happy, and to express freedom is to be in accord with the divine law and wisdom." And so our call to action and our opportunity for us as a local community this month is about celebrating our spiritual significance. And so once again this year, we will be participating in the Monterey Peninsula Pride celebration. And this year, Monterey Pride is on the last Saturday in June, which is June 28th. We have a table at the local Pride celebration, which will take place at the plaza down at the waterfront, immediately following the parade. And we're inviting volunteers to come and help staff the table. Whatever time you can give between 12 and 3, we would really appreciate it. And we will have a sign-up sheet starting next week for you to sign up for a time slot. We would like an hour. We appreciate whatever you can give. And at the Pride table, we give out our Science of Mind magazine. We have a postcard that represents our community with 10 reasons for selecting a spiritual path to follow. We have bookmarks identifying our spiritual center, and we may have some other goodies to distribute at the table. And so we invite you to really come out and be a part of that if you can and if you're willing. And so as we continue to live our lives out loud in living color, I invite us to say together our affirmation for the week. And this will be on our screen. I fully embrace the spectrum of my human experience. Let's say it together again. I fully embrace the spectrum of my human experience. And so I invite us now to pray together. And as we shift our focus into this time of prayer, embrace this idea that where I am right now is the place that I am to be. And in this place where I am right now, I am a whole, perfect, and complete expression of the divine. I live a life that is filled with grace and joy and beauty and love. And I declare this knowing that there is one life. That life is God's life. That life is whole. It is perfect. It is complete right here and right now. And in living this life of wholeness and completeness, I speak my word joyfully this morning, declaring that this journey of life is filled with majesty, it's filled with joy, it's filled with pride, it's filled with embracing the living, colorful expressions of God. I'm reminded of the beauty of nature, especially in the springtime leading into the summer, when it is ripe and rich with all of the colors of the rainbow and beyond. Knowing that each color is an aspect of the divine. I speak my word this morning for all who are on this journey of awakening to their spiritual magnificence in living color as expressions of the divine. I speak my word for those individuals who we identify as marginalized. And yet, I know that that is a mischaracterization of who they are, because we're all unified in the oneness of spirit. And so wherever there is struggle, where there is strife, where there is war, where there is unrest, where there is an act of silencing, where there are attempts to erase, that the Spirit is saying, yes, to my beloveds. And the Spirit is bringing peace into the hearts and minds of each one, knowing that the light overcomes the darkness. And so I declare this morning that darkness does not prevail. And I declare this knowing that I'm shining the light of love and unity and power and belonging in my own heart, so it radiates out to others. As I declare and affirm this truth for myself, I declare it and affirm it for all people in all places. For those who are experiencing transitions in life, however those transitions may be appearing, I know that there is healing for the heart, there is healing for the soul, there is healing for the mind, there is healing for the body, and that everything is fading back into God. And for this, and so much more than I have words to define, I give thanks. I give thanks knowing that the word spoken has created a new cause in motion, and that my word must come back as I have declared. And so in confidence and joy, I release this word into that universal law, which always says yes, allowing it to be, knowing it is so. And if any of what I have said resonates with you in any way, please affirm it with me as we say together, and so it is, and so it is. And I take this opportunity to remind our in-person community as well as our online communities, all part of our family, that ministers and practitioners of the Monterey Center for Spiritual Living are here to support you in prayer, to support you in celebrating those wins, and to be with you in moving through those transitional experiences that are called life. You may fill out a prayer request form here in the center, or for those viewing online, you may fill out a prayer request form on our website, knowing that your requests are held in confidence and are supported by the practitioners and the ministers of our community. And now we have an opportunity to demonstrate our abundance by sharing in what is called offering time. Yay! We are a donation-based organization. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization. And through your generosity, through your gifts, through your tithes, through your offerings, through your donations, we're able to continue to provide celebrations and gatherings like this on Sunday, we're able to support the technology that is required for these gatherings, and we're able to expand this teaching through your support and with your support out into the global community. And so we thank you for the gifts that you contribute. And we have an affirmation of abundance. I invite us to say that together. I recognize the presence of God within as a source of my abundance. Out of my abundance consciousness flows everything I could desire in life. With gratitude and thanksgiving, I now participate in the flow of uninterrupted abundance. This prosperous experience is evidence of my abundance consciousness. And for those of you who are viewing, we have the ways that you can support our community online. You may mail in your donations. You may text to give, or you may also donate through our website. And our greeter will pass the offering basket here in the center. And while the offering basket is being passed, just want to remind you that last Sunday, we launched our Raise the Roof campaign. We are targeting $4,500 to make some necessary repairs to our roof before the rainy season starts again here in Monterey. And so we're asking for a donation over and above your regular contribution to our Raise the Roof campaign. If you're writing a check in the memo section, would you please write Raise the Roof? Or if you're donating online, there's a drop-down menu that identifies the building fund, and if you would put in the comment section under there, Raise the Roof, we would really appreciate it. And through your generosity, we raised a little over $600 last week. No, we're at 1,000. We raised $1,000. Yay, 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 yay. And so thank you for your generosity. Thank you for your love. Thank you for the way that you continue to support the beloved community. For our Facebook and our YouTube community, we invite you to join us next Sunday as we continue our theme for the month of June, In Living Color. And our topic for next week is Do What You Want to Do, casting away the consciousness of exclusion and celebrating unity, diversity, belonging, and unique expressions. We say to you, God bless you, we love you, we appreciate you, and enjoy this wonderful life.